tonight for the Clark County Fire District 6 Fire Levy Lid Lift. Normally, we'd like to be in person and meeting with you to talk about the issues that the fire district's facing, but with COVID, we have to do things a little bit differently. I have Commissioner Brad Losbeck here with me today, and we're here to answer questions and give you a presentation on why District 6 feels a lid lift is necessary and how we can get your support. I'm going to take off my mask to do the presentation so that you can hear me clearly, and Commissioner Losbeck's going to social distance and keep his mask on. Throughout the YouTube live presentation, you can ask questions. You just type in those questions, and at the end of the presentation, we'll answer any of the questions that came in. So first of all, District 6 services an area that includes Hazeldale, Salmon Creek, Philida, Mount Vista, the Fairgrounds, and Lakeshore. We serve over 75,000 people, and we do it with care and professionalism. And our fire district covers 37 square miles in the heart of Clark County. We are always grateful and accountable to our community, and we're thankful for the opportunity to serve. That is at the core of our values. Last year, we responded to over 8,800 calls, and we've always operated under a balanced budget. We've also passed all of our independent state audits. Clark County Fire District 6 is an all-inclusive fire service agency. We do fire suppression, emergency medical services, both advanced life support and basic life support. We have wildland firefighting in an urban interface environment. We do technical rescue, hazardous materials incident response, fire prevention, and public education. We want to go over how our fire district and our emergency services are funded. The daily operations of Fire District 6 are funded through two levies. They're paid through property taxes. Amounts are capped at the voter-approved rates, $1.50 for fire per assessed property value, and 50 cents for EMS per thousand of assessed property value. EMS is our medical service of our organization. Over time, these levy rates fall as property values rise to limit the district to the same amount of revenue per year, plus a 1% increase allowed by law. That's the most we can get in an increase in our funding. At times, we ask our community for a lid lift to return a levy to the amount previously approved by voters. Lid lifts can help us with higher call volumes and increasing costs for service. This is how our budget is set up. Our 2020 fire operating budget had a revenue of just over $11 million. The fire levy is responsible for $11.5 million of that, and we get about $300,000 from other funding. The beginning fund balance of the fire operating budget was $9.2 million. Part of the reason for this is we're required to have enough cash on hand at the beginning of the year to meet all obligations until the current year's taxes are collected and distributed in May. The 2020 fire operating budget expenditures is $16 million. Almost $12 million of that goes to fire suppression, about $2 million to administration, about $2 million to intergovernmental, $200,000 to training, legislative, and prevention programs, $200,000 to facilities, and about $43,000 to rescue services. Our ending fund balance is $5.1 million. Again, we're required to have a certain amount of cash on hand at the beginning of the year so that we can pay the bills. Budget revenues also have an EMS operating budget. The revenue in the EMS operating budget is $3.7 million. The EMS levy provides for almost 99% of that. Other funding is about 1%. The beginning fund balance for the EMS operating budget was $3.5 million. It's set up the same as the fire budget so that we have to have those initial funding to carry over until May. In 2020, our EMS operating budget expenditures were $4.7 million, the majority of those being emergency medical services. Small portion was for supplies, services, training, and capital. The ending fund balance of the EMS budget was $2.6 million. Our area of Clark County is not unlike any other area in Clark County. We are seeing exponential growth, and you can see that in how our call volumes have increased over the last 10 years. So we have increased call volume about 70% since 2020 and 13% just in the last year. Part of that is because of growth and more need within the community. So again, it's increased almost 30% in 5 years and 13% in the past year alone. We've also provided services with those call volume increases with the same amount of staffing. So we're getting to the tipping point where response times will start to suffer because we haven't increased the staffing to match the rate of the increase in call volume. So the cost to provide service requires more revenue. And again, we're only allowed that 1% increase by law. These costs are out of our control but represent real needs of our community: firefighting, emergency medical services, training, facility needs, replacement apparatus and equipment. So that is why we at District 6 are asking the voters to consider a fire levy lid lift. Our last lid lift was in 2015 and we completed all the promised projects and improved our community insurance rating. By improving our community insurance rating from a 4 to a 3, we reduced insurance premiums for both residents and commercial. Also promised in our 2015 lid lift was a remodel of Station 62, which is our Philitis station, a rebuild of Station 63, our Salmon Creek station, and the first ever training facility built within Clark County Fire District 6. And we've completed all those projects. With the exception of the training facility, it's still under construction. Since 2015, our levy has fallen from $1.50 to $1.16 per 1,000 of assessed valuation. Fire District 6 is considering asking voters to return the lid lift to $1.50 per 1,000, and that will happen in the August 4th primary election. The lid lift would fund the following: additional personnel to respond to higher call volumes, improve our firefighter training, earthquake-proof our busiest station in Hazeldale, which is our headquarters station, and add or replace aging apparatus. The additional cost to an owner of a $350,000 home would be approximately $9.92 per month. The goal is to pay cash for these projects as opposed to financing, which costs taxpayers more. District 6 has a solid history of paying cash for these types of projects. If you'd like more information, it can be found on our website at www.ccfd6.org. You can also address any questions to me personally. I have the station phone number up there, 360-576-1195, and my email's up there as well. We encourage you to check out all of our resources that talk about District 6 and the services we provide, and you can find those at our webpage, our Facebook account, that's Clark County Fire District 6, and our Twitter account at ccfd6. Thank you for joining us, and we'll take any questions now.
David Smith is asking how COVID has impacted the department. I'm going to let the chief handle that one.
COVID has had a significant impact to our department, not only financially, but emotionally. We reduced, call volume slowed down quite a bit when COVID first hit. And then we also did not allow our firefighters to train or form in groups. So the mental part of that, when the firefighters couldn't do practice and training and the things that they're used to doing, it was mentally challenging for them. But the real impact of COVID is the health and safety of our community. So in order to ensure that, we've had to purchase additional PPE, which is our public protective equipment. We've had to purchase different medical equipment and stuff, not only to protect our providers, but to protect our community. And that all comes at a cost. So we've been tallying the costs that we've been spending on COVID, and right now we're just under $50,000 of additional costs that we didn't anticipate because we didn't anticipate the pandemic.
Feel free to ask questions if you have any. We'll wait a few minutes. You're welcome, David. Thank you for the question. if there's no questions, and you can think of some later, please contact the chief. Her information was up on the screen. Come to a board meeting, or I'm sorry, watch a board meeting. We aren't gonna be able to do those in person. We have next Tuesday at 5:30. We're gonna do another one of these. At 6 o'clock will be our board meetings. So if you have questions, you can join us again next week or contact the chief. And not seeing any additional questions, we're gonna thank the folks that watched, and we'll say good night.
Thank you and good night.